So I want to talk about an opportunity for businesses that I believe is actually somewhat of an hidden opportunity that not enough people are speaking about, given where technology is at this point in time on June 2025. And that is AI voice agents. AI voice agents, I look at as almost that next step beyond chatbots and text-based large language models. And these voice agents leveraging platforms like Vapi AI and Retell AI enable you to create different sorts of voice conversation solutions, especially when it comes to service businesses. So if you're a business that does a high volume of calls, particularly when it comes to inbound scenarios, then where we are in the market and in the technology, this is a really optimal solution. So just to rewind a little bit, back in 2024, I had been actually exploring voice AI agents, and I was looking at it at the time more so from an outbound standpoint, whether it was for calling, for lead qualifying, but particularly for outbound, actually reaching out to prospects and in sales kind of environments. And I quickly learned that it's better to have a human being in place when you're dealing with sales and more so high stakes kind of situations. There are a bunch of people, companies alike that are creating and rolling out cold call outbound sales solutions using these voice agents, and no shade to them. The technology is improving, and I imagine at some point along the lines we'll get there to where it'll be able to close deals and convert leads and business on the phone. But where I believe the real opportunity is right now in the progression of the technology is with inbound. So if you are a service business that deals with a high volume of calls on a day-to-day basis, maybe you have staff and that staff can't handle the amount of calls that are coming in, or maybe it's scenarios where you're dealing with after hours or weekend calls that could actually be potential business for your company. Those kinds of scenarios. So we're talking about property management companies, personal care companies, whether that be salons and barbershops, home care companies, HVAC, contractors, handymen, medical offices, legal offices, these kinds of companies that deal with consistent call volume, and especially ones where appointments are constantly being booked. These are all scenarios where it can be very helpful for customer or client experience. And it can also be very helpful for just, quite frankly, accelerating the growth of your business. And so, shout out to a lot of the AI agent tools that are out on the market, because as I started thinking further about voice agents, and it's a request that has come up multiple times now, just with me being in the AI and automation space, I started doing some research just around missed calls and just how much business is being left on the table from service businesses. So I went on to Manus AI, and for those who aren't familiar, Manus is a platform kind of like ChatGPT and these other large language models, except it's a very extensive in the process that it goes about doing research and bringing the task that you ask for it, or the goal that you give it, to life. So it's considered to be a general AI agent. And so it'll actually map out different steps and show you the steps and the tasks that it is taking in order to accomplish a goal. So I went on to Manus, and I decided to look at, for service businesses, what missed call volume looks like, and also just the impact of not being able to take all these calls that do come in, the impact that has on your business. And so I had this guide that got put together, and we were seeing that, for example, your average dental office misses 68% of calls that come in on a day-to-day basis. Your average property management company misses 50% of calls that come in. And when you look at the amount of business that can mean you're losing in terms of revenue, so the average business loses $126,360 annually due to unanswered calls, which is very sizable. And I imagine the distribution that they're using may be wide when you think about what exactly so this average business number that they're using is for small businesses. But when you think about small business, the range is actually very wide. You have multi-million-dollar businesses that are technically still small businesses. And so that could mean different things. But as I started thinking more deeply about unanswered calls, service businesses that also do a lot of appointments and appointment setting based on what comes in from inbound conversations. And then when I went to go look at the voice solutions that are on the market for builders who are putting together and can put together these workflows, AI voice agents is very clearly one that is a growing opportunity. These agents have become exceptionally good. And so what I actually want to do is go through Vapi and Retell, which are the two platforms that I've sort of been exploring quite a lot, and just do like a kind of apples and oranges comparison between the two. Vapi's platform that I was a lot more inclined to use. That's the more popular solution on the market. And it was the one that I actually originally started off with. And then Retell came after it. However, I learned that I actually enjoy the experience of Retell for a couple of different reasons. So I'm going to kind of do like a comparison between Vapi and Retell for those who may be thinking about building voice agents, or if you're considering implementing one in your business. So just to talk on Vapi a little bit. So with Vapi, the way that they have their platform laid out, when you go onto the platform, you have an overview section. They'll show you the calls that you've made and the amount that you're spending per call. It'll then give you a bunch of different options that you can use. So these platforms, both Vapi and Retell, you can actually purchase a phone from here, which is nice. And they leverage Twilio. I believe Vapi even internally has their lines. And then you can create an assistant. The assistant is the agent that you build, and then you give instructions to it. That's pretty standard. Temperature is how creative or stringent they are in the way they communicate. So the lower the temperature, the more stringent; the higher the temperature, the more kind of creative and off script that they will go. Then you have different functions that you can add in. You can use different voices. You have different providers here for the voice. Play HT is one of my favorites for voice in general. I believe it gets other like different cultures. Like it kind of gets the diversity around voices well. 11 Labs is the most popular. You can get transcript. And so it actually gets pretty granular in what the information is able to retrieve for you. And you can do tool calling, which to just talk a little bit about tools. Tools are a kind of function, and what it allows is being able to accomplish different tasks. And in some cases, it means calling third-party applications. In other cases, it's just doing something that isn't internal to the main function or the main purpose of the platform. So something that's different than just regular conversation. In this case, it might be going to get a date and time from the outside. It might be going to search the web. It might be going to just do other things. So it has ability to create tools, and there's a whole tool section where you can create tools, and you can upload a knowledge base. Now that is Vapi for you. And in Retell, it's actually very similar in a lot of ways, as far as instructions that you give, as far as you being able to use different large language models, being able to choose from different voices, 11 Labs to Play HT to Open AI, being able to create different functions, transcription settings, being able to collect the transcription. So on a fundamental level, both Vapi and Retell are similar applications, and even the pricing around it is relatively the same. Retell may be slightly more inexpensive. I'd have to do like a further analysis around that, but the pricing is comparable. And with Retell, you can also purchase phones like with Vapi, and then Retell has actually an SMS feature as well if you want to tack on text message automation as a part of the workflows that you create. Now, what I really want to talk about that for me differentiates the two and reason why I like Retell AI a lot right now. So this is me kind of putting my gloves in the ring for Retell is the simplicity in being able to connect with outside platforms. So with Retell, you can, just like with Vapi, you can connect to an automation platform like make.com, for example, and you can take the information or the data that gets collected within these platforms, and you can do other stuff, if you will, with that information. So if you have a call, if you were to test out a call, and I have an example here that I can show where if I go onto Retell, and I want to just make sure the right webhook is here for that. Actually, don't think this is the right webhook for what I'm thinking about. Here we go. Okay, cool. So if I were to test this out, so I created an appointment agent, and this will intake calls, and you can have conversation with this agent named using the voice of Julia, and the name of the agent is Joy. So if I go ahead and test it, hey Joy, I'm just testing you out really quickly. All right, so that's good. All right, so that right there is data that should have gotten collected by the make.com scenario, because I have a webhook that is placed here. So at the bottom right here within Retell where it says agent level webhook URL, when you paste a custom webhook from Make, it'll then send over the data as the call happens and after the call is over for you to do a further analysis on it. So if I look at what got sent over, you'll see right here, call analyzed, and there's a transcript for it, and also like a call analysis for a summary of that call. And then it also then went into an Airtable database. And in that Airtable database, if I were to show you what those tables look like, you would see that I have a column for the transcript, a column for the summary, a column for the date that the call happened. And so you're able to take the data that gets created from the call, the content of the call, the transcript, information about the caller, and put it elsewhere. In this case, we're taking it and it's coming into make.com. And then from there, you can then transfer that to an Airtable. You can transfer that to a Zoho, for example, and that then enables you to do different sort of transformations. And that's what I like a lot about Retell, in that in order to even do just that, all you have to do is create a custom webhook, and you can now do these other kinds of transformations. With Vapi, you can do the same sort of task, but there's a little bit more that you have to figure out in the process in order to go about doing so. And I think a lot of it has to do with the user experience. The user experience in Retell, as you can see here, it's a lot simpler. Everything is kind of laid out to you. It's a little bit more compressed, whereas with Vapi, the user experience is it just feels a little bit more all over the place, and or it feels a little bit more, almost more complex or more complicated, but it's actually all the same functions, the same capabilities that it allows. So that's one thing. Just the simplicity of the user experience is something that I really like about Retell. Even down to appointment setting, for example. If you look at the functions within Retell. You can have it check the calendar availability and book appointments. Whereas with Vapi, those are actually functions that you have to do within Make. So you can create workflows within Make where you check appointments, you schedule, you reschedule, and so on. And although within Retell, you will have to create workflows, and if you're going to be taking the data out of the application, it's going to require other kinds of connections. But with Retell, at least some of those tasks and goals that you have, you can do from within the platform before you start taking it out for more complex and advanced purposes. Whereas with Vapi, that kind of starts earlier, and I don't like that so much. And so I say that all to say they're both great, and I just I did a demo of the agent here within Retell. They both will sound very similar if you use either platform, and I would say that what's actually really cool is just the space in general, because just looking at it back in 2024 to where it is now in 2025, the quality of these voice agents, it's like night and day. And so it's definitely, I would say, a hidden opportunity, and something that most, if not all businesses, but especially those with very high call volumes, should be considering having within their operations, whether it's for general FAQs, for appointment setting, for just having a person, or in this case, an AI there, just able to answer calls from a customer experience standpoint. And it's something that can be used to accelerate your business when you think about the amount of revenue that actually may be getting left on the table by not being able to field all the calls that are coming in. So I will definitely be doing more videos on AI voice agents and how they can connect to the rest of your operations, because from the voice conversations, having access to the transcripts, the data that you can create, that you can aggregate and do different analyses on, it being able to then connect to text automations and other kinds of needs for your business, the interconnections can go pretty deep. So I look forward to talking more about that and doing some demos around the voice agents themselves. But wanted to kind of give an overview of just how I'm looking at the space right now as I've been doing my research and just thinking about Vapi versus Retell, those being two of the more popular ones, and I will also be taking a look at some others as well, to just make sure I'm covering the gamut. But that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you have any questions or anything you want me to kind of go further into. But until next time, this is side-by-side comparison between Vapi and Retell, and just my take on the overall voice AI market.